There we go. If anyone doesn't know what I was doing there, that is the tune that used to always come on in the cinema in the 1990s. You know, when you were waiting for the main shit to start. I wasn't late. Wasn't that 7 o'clock on the dot? I think so. Some of you fuckers are still on military time, I think. I don't have to come 5 or 10 minutes early. Anyway, how's everyone doing? Do you like the freshly shorn bootneck? It was getting a bit long. I looked like my brother's missus said I looked like Jack Nicholson, you know, because it was sort of sticking out the sides and I had big pork chops. I was going for the Jack Nicholson look, so I insulted my father and had him kick the hair out of my head for me. Nice cheap haircut. Pearl and Dean, is that the name? I don't even know. I just remember that was what it was like at the start. The oi listener is here. I don't know what that means. EDL. The thing is, right? Weren't the original skinheads like sort of hippie types? You know that This Is England. You watch that and it seems to me all of the original sort of skinhead movement weren't in any way related to racially motivated violence. So I don't think that was what they were all about with her, but that is a bit before my time. 1960s and 70s. The bootneck wasn't born then. Music. Have I left some desktop music on? No, I don't think so. That's what these are for. I have a habit of leaving windows open and random shit plays while I'm talking. Anyway, did everybody like the BBC Spews? It got locked behind the fucking wall of hate. So that was a nightmare. Holly fighting with them all again. Munster, yeah, Eddie Munster. That was my nickname as a boy. Eddie Munster. I've had the widow's peak going on since I was about 10. Now I'm just 2 inches higher than it used to be. Anyway, Oxbridge Pleasantries. I'm going to have to stop doing this now. I almost in 3 figures as soon as I start. Hello, good evening. Muktuk, Carlos, John, This Is England. Shams is in, how you doing? Marcus G, Sadwings, Nice Shiny Spanner, Two-Tone, Glenn Parker, Professor Andy, Craig Hewitt, Lee Evans, all the locals are in. You guys are all regulars. Russell Smith, Origami, Zardos, Whiskey Straight Al, how's it going, mate? Wayne B, Job, not the Job. We don't want pious men in this chat room. Carl Pollard, Neelas, Tommy Walker, Stephen Orn, how you doing? John Hunter, I wasn't late. The Sash, Andy Cooper, Giblob, Alan Lloyd, Slip, how you doing? Two-Tone, who have I missed? It's me, Bexby, Mark McCoy, World Brexit. I like that name. We need a world Brexit. We need more nation states running their own affairs in harmony with their neighbours. I agree. Well, that's a fine name. Carl Burton, Jason Pritchard. Who else? I think I've said most of you fuckers at least once. Davy Boy, Richard Goss, Terry Wookfit, how you doing? Pepe Le Pew, John Briggs, Vincent Kevin Hood, Wayne B. Holly Anforth, Zardos, I've said you already. Hello everyone. Anyone else I've missed? MGH, The Evil Druid. I think you're new. Itch That Mitch Stew, Flyboy Ray, The Reckoning, Teresa, Marcus, Philip Solidus, Fat Zombie, Jimmy Ray, I think that's most of you. Chris Collin, Danny Ashton, Paul, Luke Ansell, 51 North. Bloody hell. That's a fair room full when I've only just started. Maybe the controversy of being locked behind Susan's wall of death is driven my numbers up like the Streisand effect. No, that hasn't happened. If you look at my numbers from like a year ago, the BBC Spews was getting like 6,000 people on there within a day or two. So it's gone way down. Susan is fucking with my shit. But as I've told you, the joke's on them. Because the Angry Bootneck isn't here for love nor money. The Angry Bootneck is here originally because he's a chippy northerner and he wants to be proven right. And he wants this digital record of him saying things like, I don't think burly lumberjacks should be punching fuck out of women in cage fights just because they call themselves Brenda, right? That is the main reason I started doing this. It was a moral and ethical responsibility to have my fucking name stuck in cyberspace forevermore. So in 10 years' time or 20 years' time, they might look back and go, holy shit, that chippy, balding northern twat was a fucking visionary. That was the main reason. But now, Bootneck's stubbornness has exerted itself, and the main reason I exist on this platform is out of pure, bloody-minded fucking stubbornness. That's what it takes to get a Green Beret, and I swear to God, as God is my witness, to every necky lefty that has took delight in seeing my milquetoast, centrist, pleasant opinions get scrubbed and scraped out of fucking existence by that winged beast in Silicon Valley and her legions of fuckwit lackeys. I will stay on this platform doing this even if there is only me and my fucking mother-in-law watching it. They will have to send the boys round my house and physically fucking drag me out of it and shoot me in the head to stop me from making videos and posting shit on here, because that is what I think of Silicon fucking Valley and the communist mafia in that little tiny square of one state, of fucking one country that is more fucking far left than the rest of planet Earth, and yet they think they can fucking behave as supreme arbiters of the bastard internet. My loathing and hatred for those people knows no bounds, and I will never, ever, ever stop making shit till the stars burn fucking cold, or Susan sends Andy McNab round my house, because she's got a lot more money than me, and he puts 3 in my face. That is the only way they will get me off this fucking platform. Or just cancel my account and let that stand as a testament. Because I've got what? Few thousand hours of content on here now. And it's all on Odyssey, the ones that they've deleted for no reason. It stands as a testament. If you go through my entire posting history, it is the most milquetoast, middle-of-the-road shit you will ever see. Let's be honest, I'm almost a boring bastard. Jacob Rees-Mogg is more exciting than me. I don't say anything controversial. I honestly don't see how I do. What the fuck is controversial about boring milquetoast centrism and a bit of swearing? This is the shit you would have seen on the BBC, minus the occasional C-bomb. Although, you know, I'm sure Andrew Neil, when he gets fired up, he might have outdone himself. It's bollocks. I don't say anything controversial. I don't think anything controversial. Basically, BBC 15 years ago, that's what I fucking think. Boring cunt that I am. That's all I think. And I tell you what I think, and it's perfectly reasonable to anybody who isn't a fucking raving lunatic. But this is the world we live in. Being normal is controversial. Not being a fucking full-blown communist is controversial. Let's move on to do some news, shall we? There's another rant. I like to start with a fucking tirade. Gary Morley, a local lad. Hello, I'm in Notts. How are you doing? Have you noticed how Sherwood Forest, miles away from fucking Nottingham? What's that all about? Went to see my brother, he lives up in like fucking Mansfield. Robin Hood wasn't from fucking Nottingham, he's from Mansfield, scruffy twat. Why does everyone think it's in Nottingham? Weird. Strange that it's miles away. I found that strange this weekend. I just sort of did the geography in my head and was like, huh? Robin Hood wasn't from fucking Nottingham, he was from Mansfield. Oh, alright, Paz, how you doing? Fucking Paz, I'm getting fisted by Susan again. You know it makes sense. The absolute Jezebel. Who else did I miss there? Can you dim the lights, please? The dazzle off your head is blinding. Fucking hell. That's not bald, surely. That is... If it wasn't for the fact I didn't have a V head, yeah, I'd probably have a normal forehead there. It's not a fucking 5 head, is it? Robin Hood was from Yorkshire. No, I've seen the film. Robin Hood was American. He had a very broad American accent, and he hung around with a black dude. Yeah, everybody knows that. All the people who are around Robin Hood look like fucking Idris Elba. I've seen the films. I've seen the new one. I've seen the old one. Well, the one constant is that all of Robin Hood's mates were, looked like fucking Barack Obama's granddad. So That's just the way it is. Everybody knows that. Catch up, lads. Everyone's going on about Paz, by the way, and I can't even see him in the chat. Why is that? Is that like some sort of weird... Is that some weird trick Susan's playing on me? I don't see him in the chat anyway. Anyway, all right. Sorry. Susan's fucking with me if you're there, Paz. All right. Right. On about absolute lunatics. Let's talk about one. Because I saw this on a liberalist group today. And it really did alarm me. It says, this is why minorities and white people can't get along in America. Again, being the dull, middle-of-the-road twat that I am, I feel like I have to point out that I don't think anybody who isn't a fanatic thinks that. But I think it's telling of these fucking lunatics that they seem to think they can speak on behalf of minorities. Like, why do they do that? What's logical about thinking, because you're one bloke who happens to have a tan, writing your shit piece. It's like a hit piece, but worse. It's a shit piece. If you're writing your shit piece on the fucking internet, what makes you think you can write this shit and be taken seriously any more than I could be? If I even distilled it way smaller, right? If I wasn't speaking on behalf of something as ridiculously nebulous as Europeans, right? Caucasians. Which, by the way, is a group that is infinitely smaller than fucking anyone in the entire world that happens to have a tan, right? But even if I distilled it even smaller than Europeans or white people, if I went all the way down to something really small, like let's say blue-eyed, brown-haired, northern Englishman, right? Even then, it wouldn't make any sense, would it? If I wrote a story like, this is why blue-haired, brown-haired northerners can't get along with cockneys, people would laugh at me and say, haha, this guy is a fucking lunatic. So just apply the same principle to this. Apply the same principle to this story that because he's a lefty gets massive amounts of traction, and somehow the fucking maniac has got 227,000 followers on Twitter. Right? If you put this in any context other than far left communist politics, it doesn't make any sense, does it? If I go right down as small as you can distill it and say, you know, everyone from Middlesbrough can't get along with cockneys, people say, that makes no sense. It's completely illogical. But when some guy who happens to have a tan says, this is why minorities can't get along with white people, the lefties go, fucking hell, this is visionary stuff, man. This is fucking genius. Please, show us the way, Umair. You're obviously a fucking political visionary. It's absolute lunacy. Also, if it was any other group of people, you'd basically get banned for being a fucking fascist, wouldn't you? Like, it's pretty mad, the shit that they write. So, absolute bollocks. But look at this quote. I'm not going to read the whole piece because it is just absolute shit. To his credit, he gets that right in the first paragraph. This is going to be a long, boring and painful essay. Yes, you are. Well done. Maybe you are a political visionary. Why is there two different chats up? That is weird. Why? I don't know. Fuck knows. I have no idea. I'm a cockney and I think you're sound, Matt. Cheers, mate. I don't think this. I'm just telling you. But look at this quote here. It says, "Dear white people, we minorities live in fear of you, in a certain kind of terror, in fact, a fear that follows us everywhere and watches our every word, action and expression. We live in fear of white rage, and that is why America cannot come together, ever." What a fucking lunatic. A lunatic. Again, if I try to say anything even remotely akin to this, I'd probably end up in fucking jail. Now we're back in England. But it's just demonstrably wrong. Demonstrably wrong. Ridiculous, absurd. I don't know what else to say about it. But it doesn't make any sense, does it? Not just the Trumpists. We're even afraid of the good white people, the liberals, because their moral superiority makes them all the more dangerous. So let me just tell you right again. Here's my point, folks. The communists. They try and hide what they are by using clever terminology. But the communists, you don't have to bother with far left, Marxist, postmodernist, fucking whatever. They're just communists. Full-blown communists, not so subtly rebranded for 2021. The guy's a fucking communist. He thinks he can speak on behalf of every single person in America, possibly the world, that happens to have a bit of a tan, right? And he also thinks all white people think the same, even the ones that hate Trump and also the ones that love Trump. It's just a pile of shite. And I don't understand why everybody makes this stuff more complicated than it needs to be. They're fucking radical collectivists, communists. This shithead thinks he can speak on behalf of everyone that's ever had a fucking tan. Yeah, anyone that's ever nipped to Spain for a fortnight. Fucking who knows what he thinks and how he feels. I don't know what he'd say about fucking all the people that vote Conservative that aren't fucking straight white men. I don't know what he'd say about them. But it's a lot of fucking shit. And a scroll through his Twitter feed just hurts your head. Because it's just ridiculous. And yet he's got 250,000 followers. There's no accounting for taste, is there? Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Nationalism, authoritarianism, fascism. Fucking Matt Hancock. Now, I don't want to defend that fucking creature in any way, shape or form. However, again, we're just talking about the illiterate fucking nonsense they come out with. If you think modern Britain is fascism, fascism, there's a dictionary definition for fascism. If you think that, you can't think. Your brain is a fucking piece of wood. You are a plank, a fucking log. There's a dictionary definition for all of those terms. If you think Britain is them, first of all, what the fuck are you doing here? Why aren't you fleeing as a refugee? Second of all, read a history book. Because if those things are what we are now, then you need to invent new words, don't you? You need to invent new words. Pinochet was throwing lefties, commies, out of helicopters. We don't do that. Mussolini was rounding up anybody that fucking disagreed with him strongly and shooting them in the head. If you think Britain is a nationalist, authoritarian, fascist country, you need to buy a dictionary. If you can't see your way clear to reading a history book, at least buy a fucking dictionary. But it hurts my head that people like me, with my dull, middle-of-the-road opinions, are getting fisted by Susan. And people that just write fucking drivel are celebrated by these Silicon Valley types. It's just lunacy. Regarding that comment, Mitch, isn't fascism just state control? It's extreme state control though, isn't it? It's not, I mean, how many people have never wore a mask? What happens here if you don't wear a mask? I agree with you in that they've stepped outside the remit, and what they've been doing through the pandemic isn't really legal. They just change the laws on a whim and then say, yeah, it's legal. It fucking isn't. They don't have the right to tell healthy young people that they're not allowed to go out because there's a risk to obese 87-year-olds. They don't have the right to do that. It's like legally mandated health healthcare. They're basically forcing you to worry about the health of perfect strangers, and you have the right not to do that. But it's not fascism. We're clearly a long way off that. Because if you go out without your mask on and you refuse to get vaccinated and you take the piss here and there, well, the worst you'll get is what, a fine? Don't pay the fine. I still don't think anybody's been sent to prison for not paying a fine, for not wearing a mask, right? We're some way off that. Yeah. But it is a slippery slope. All right, I agree with you. I don't believe that that's it. They always say the slippery slope fallacy. It's not always a fucking fallacy, is it? It isn't. It fucking happens. Slippery slope is a thing. And I think that the pandemic's proved that right. Anyway, I suppose I'll have to do a BBC story, right? Or else this isn't the BBC Spews Live. Here's the one I wanted to do. Batley and Spen by-election, Labour egged and kicked. I want to give some credit to the BBC here because I was discussing this with somebody who sent me it via the Metro. And I pointed out I was right, once again. Don't wish to sound like an arrogant twat, but I guess when you're a middle-of-the-road twat, you listen to both sides of the argument and you often come to a logical conclusion. He sent me a story from the Metro, and they failed to point out. In fact, the Metro one, I would show you it, but I don't want to plug it because it's so bad. The Metro one seemed to insinuate that the attackers of the Labour people in this Batley and Spen by-election were affiliated with the erstwhile Mr. Robinson. And I read the story and they were like, oh yeah, he was there and there was loads of right-wingers there. Oh yeah, and then someone got assaulted. And I was like, hang on. We know from reading what's been going on there that there's the followers of one of the big three desert gods, the only one that I'm not allowed to mention because Susan gets angry. They're there flag waving for George Galloway. And there was also reports of them being in a very large groups having a go at Joe Cox's sister. So when I read the Metro's version, they basically insinuated that it was the far right. This non-existent, and it is non-existent, let's be honest, right? How many people in modern Britain are far right? The country that fought against the Nazis. The country that's like finest hour is standing against the Nazis. There's nowhere in Europe more resilient to the far right than Britain. There just isn't. You hear them making monkey chants at the football in fucking Spain and Italy. You don't get that shit in Yorkshire. Because that's not us. Yes, they like to visit Alan's world famous snack bar. That's true, these people. But that's not us. So I knew as soon as I read the Metro that it wasn't the far right. I mean, seriously, we've got a far right party. The BNP gets about 0.001% of the vote, and yet the fucking Guardian and the BBC want to pretend that, like, everywhere you fucking turn, every bush you walk through, you trip over a fucking neo-fascist. It's like, oops, bloke there with a swatch sticker on his head. Sorry, mate. Like, they're everywhere. It's like that brass eye paedophobia. You know, where people act like there's a fucking nonce in every bush. Tom, I'm aware that Mr. Robinson isn't, because I seen when he did his political compass on Sargon's channel about a year ago, and he isn't. But what I'm saying is they smear him and anyone affiliated him with the far right. There is a far right in Britain, but it's almost non-existent. Let's just agree on that. He has been smeared in a way that we all know all about because he was proved right, wasn't he? The grooming gangs proved him right, and he's owed an apology by the state. But he doesn't go about what he's doing in the most logical way, and he doesn't present himself very well. I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't if I was on national television. Me swearing and having my broad northern accent, they would smear me as fucking Adolf 2 seconds. Nobody would bother watching the 10,000 fucking YouTube broadcasts I've done. They just all assume I'm a Nazi because that's the way the modern media runs. But let's just say we do have a far right in Britain and they don't do any very well in the polls. That's as logical. I don't want to get in the weeds of arguing about the definitions of what is far right, but let's just say white ethno-nationalists don't have broad support in the UK. And whenever they do start waving the ethno-nationalist thing, people don't care. Because people like Black and Brown and any other fucking group, they're the ones who paint these numbers. I don't care. I know they think it's patronising now when you say I don't really see colour, but nearly everybody I know doesn't. Because working class people are the ones who were raised in these council estates where we are the ones who hang out with these fucking people. When foreign people move to Britain from poor third world countries, we are the ones who hang out with them and play football in the fucking street with them. And we're the ones that integrate them. And we're the ones that, why when they grow up, they speak like me. You get people from India and Pakistan and Nigeria who grow up in Middlesbrough, and the reason they talk like me and support the local dog shit football team when they're fucking 25 is because of people like us, the ones they smear. We integrate them, we hang out with them, the posh twats who read The Guardian and call you a racist, they're the ones that have nothing to do with these fucking people, and they just talk about them in a condescending, ridiculous manner because they know nothing about them. So it's bollocks. It's a smear and a slur that the working classes of the UK do not deserve and have never deserved, because we don't care about your colour. We care about your ideology. We don't care who you put your cock in, what God you pray to, or what your skin looks like. It's fucking totally irrelevant. We care about your ideology. And if you fucking vote in a sensible way for the people that say I like Britain and I like the flag and I'm not a fucking communist retard, you'll get on just fine. And I think the 99% knows it. Anyway, there's another rant. I wanted to give credit, rare credit, to the BBC. Because unlike the Metro is fucking just Goebbels-style propaganda. Well, Maoist propaganda. The BBC did actually name and shame, which did surprise me. It says, Labour activists campaigning ahead of the Batley and Spend by-election have been pelted with eggs and kicked in the head. West Yorkshire Police have issued an image of a man wanted over the attacks. To be fair, they didn't show the image. They just said West Yorkshire Police have released an image. Didn't put a link in there. So, fair dues. But they did, if you read down a bit, say the force said it believed 3 suspects described as diverse were wearing hooded tops and they were involved. So they didn't go the whole hog and put a picture, but they didn't do what the Metro did and say, you know what, it was probably Whitey, which is basically what the Metro did. Yeah. The Metro is trashed and it's overpriced. I understood the joke there. That's quite good. If you don't, it's because the Metro's free, right? Unless I'm inadvertently pinching it off the fucking subways, but the Metro's free, right? Maybe the joke went over my head as well. So yes, it's fucking overpriced. You pick up the Metro, you got it for nout, you still feel like you've been fucking robbed, right? It is that shit of a newspaper. It's free, you read it, you still feel like you've been diddled. You feel like you've been sat on Jimmy Savile's knee, yeah? Jimmy Savile got you to milk a cow with a blindfold on. You know the crack. GB News is leaving the BBC in the dust. Fucking marvellous. We knew it would. Again, we knew it would. I've talked about this months before it fucking aired. We knew, didn't we? We knew GB News was going to kick the shit out of Sky News, the BBC, Channel 4. It's bound to. And it's shoddily produced because they've got no money. And the sound quality is about as good as mine. And I'm a fucking totally clueless. I'm a bootneck. Most of my equipment isn't bootneck proof. I strapped a fucking microphone onto my desk and did my best. I mean, look at this piece of shit. I don't even know. Yeah, look, I don't really know what I'm doing. Hang on. It's off. There we go. It's off camera. Fucking, I'm winging it. And I think I sound about as professional as GB News. And they're still killing it. Because this country was crying out for a normal, centrist, reasonable alternative. And that's what they are, centrist. Dull, middle-of-the-road centrism. And they're like, oh my God, the hate. The hate speech must be banned. Are you a fucking lunatic? You seriously are a lunatic. If you think GB News is hate speech, if you think this is hateful, you're a fucking maniac. GB News really is. Not only is it just like the BBC was 10 years ago, everybody who works for them is fucking BBC or ex-Sky and shit. Every single person who works for GB News is a career journalist who's worked in UK journalism for fucking decades. Not a single one of them can be called right-wing. You haven't even got like a Farage on there. You've got fucking Andrew Neil. People that have worked in broadcasting for decades and they're like, oh my God, it's hate speech. You guys are fucking mental. And all we have to do to win is keep talking. That's why they want to stop us talking. That's why Susan is always on my balls, shitting on my head every chance she gets because they need to stop us talking. Because you don't have to be clever. Look, I'm not clever. I'm an average IQ. You don't have to be clever. You don't have to be charismatic. You don't have to wear a suit. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is talk. Because we're fucking right and they're fucking wrong. They need to silence you because if you speak, they lose. All they do is lie. All they do is cheat. All they do is sneak. All they do is backstab. All they do is make up names, slur the working classes, slur everybody that disagrees with them, fuck them all in their gigantic, welly-sized arseholes. All we have to do is keep talking, folks, and we win. That's all we need to do. Don't need any special microphones, don't need any good equipment, don't need anything. We just talk and we win. Because these people know less than fuck all. They know less than Diane Abbott-Taylor. And she goes out the house looking like she fucking raided the clothing bin out the back of the Salvation Army hostel, chose 4 or 5 garments at random, stitched them all together, and fucking cracked on. With 2 left Crocs on. The silly twat. So we've won. We will win. It is inevitable. They can ban and cheat and silence and smear all they like. But it's 2021. The truth will out. Eventually YouTube will collapse if they just keep throwing people off the fucking platform, silencing everybody. There's another fucking 10 platforms out there. Eventually, there's no such thing as too big to fail. If YouTube carries on like this shit, it might take 1 year, it might take 5 years, but eventually it's fucking doomed because everybody's had enough of this shit. Susan, are you listening? Sort your fucking life out, you dippy bint. Right? Do it. Anyway, that's it from me, ladies and gents. When you have to shout as much as me, it wears on your voice box. But fuck them. Diane, the mathematics expert, Diane can't work a fucking Game Boy. She's got the IQ of a pull-along duck, and quite how such a monumental fuckwit can get political power in the UK staggers me. Absolutely staggers me. It just shows the power of big tech and the mainstream media. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please click the like and share button, and I'll fucking see you soon. Hopefully the next BBC Spews won't get locked in the naughty boys room. We'll see, eh? And even if it does, rest assured, I'll keep making it if you keep watching it. Alright? And if it needs to be on Odyssey or BitChute or whatever the fuck else I need to do, I'll make it happen. Alright? Trust me. I'm not going anywhere unless the bitch walks through that door with a team of burly labourers and they physically drag me off the fucking computer. Alright? Thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you all very soon. Good night.